players, the personalities who come from around the world to play professional soccer in the United States.
Go, go, USA! Oh, it's incredible!
In a world where some call it football, football, or soccer, they dare to call it foosball. One thinks New York is blue, the other thinks New York is red. Soccer in America from a German perspective. Let them put some sauerkraut on your hot dog and join them for the Schnitzel Boys USA Hour.
Yes! Hey-oh, it's the Schnitzel Boys USA Hour.
Oh, my God. What a terrible day for you.
Go, go, USA. Oh, it's incredible. Hans Wolf on the chat. You know, I was in an acting program in Brooklyn a couple years ago. And the whole point of the program was to, quote unquote, find an activity that makes you emotionally alive.
Okay.
To liven your emotional core. I did so many activities and I failed miserably. I was the worst student in class by far.
You got no emotional core to enliven?
I had no emotional core to liven until one day. Until one day I brought in an activity. And that activity was recreating the Ian Darke goal call of the 2010 World Cup with Go, Go, USA. We had something's on here.
It's incredible.
Something's on here. Tim Howard, Landon Donovan, you know, and when I recreated that was by far the most
your
successful
emotional
activity
core awakened.
It was activated. Emotions. I wasn't a robot that day. I actually had feelings that day.
You had feelings.
And it was because of the passion I have for this beautiful game.
For the U.S. men's national team.
Speaking before I forgot this 5 weeks in a row. I guess I was in Germany, and so it was a little bit of a really paying attention. But this is our 105th episode. Why are you laughing? It's like
I don't know. It's like 105 is not. It's not the special number. You're just alluding to that. We passed
100.
We passed 100. Yeah, triple digits. That's right.
Triple digit. We did a C note. We're gonna have the 105th anniversary. We're gonna have the 230th anniversary and the 343rd episode. Expect
sounds good. Sounds good to me.
We don't care about zeros and fives, although it does end with a 5. We have over 100 episodes for you guys. The American soccer experience, and we've come to learn. Doing this for a couple of years now. We got ourselves a small little community here that we're trying to grow, but still, we love it. All the same. And we have stuff. I mean, we had a big week. we had a big weekend MLS. Also, I know it's been a while. We had stuff. Well, earlier you alluded to I had a rough weekend. Why did I have a rough weekend? I don't know. Can you see what
you lost Tom Barlow.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, there's nothing rough about it. We got money for Tom Barlow.
You got the Chicago Fire to pay $500K for Tom Barlow. I mean, if you're wondering why the Chicago Fire have not been good recently, look no further. This is the kind of deal
we sold him a boat. We sold him the boat.
You sold him the Brooklyn Bridge.
We sold them the Brooklyn Bridge for $1. Now, it's one of those things where we sold them a used car. We're selling them our problem. And they bought it. The suckers bought it, dude.
My word.
And we get 250,000 plus add-ons that could go up to 500,000 in Garber bucks and GAM, but we'll take it. Because Tom Barlow, in 99% of scenarios, should have just flushed out and then gone off to the USL to start to keep playing.
Should have just released him.
Yeah, I'm saying.
You got money for Tom Barlow. No, you're right. I was trying to troll you, but this is good news. You're right. This is a great day, a great moment of success for the New York Red Bulls. Getting $500,000 for Tom Barlow, that is no small feat. That's like when we
sold Patrick Klimala to Israel.
It's like
we're like
selling your old fridge to somebody on the way to the garbage dump.
Yeah, exactly. It's a great metaphor. We sold Tom. Now, no disrespect. I just want to say Tom Barlow seems to be a real good dude. He's a good locker room presence. His work ethic is excellent. Overall, he's
when people say that, I'm sorry to interrupt you. A good locker room presence. Like that's like what people say about somebody that you can't say anything. You have nothing else nice to say about. Like as a player, it's like that's like it's calling somebody old or bad. It's like, oh, he's an important presence in the locker room.
Well, there's value to that because there are a lot of is Bernardeschi a good locker room guy?
No. But he also sucks on the
that. Right. There are people who don't offer that value. Lothar Matthäus is not a good locker room guy.
No.
Tom Barlow is a good locker room guy.
But that's sort of like that's like a minimum requirement. Like, oh yeah, Tom Barlow, he doesn't score, but he's not an asshole.
Yeah, he seems to be a nice guy.
Granted, on the plus side, he doesn't smell.
I mean, we don't know that. If it's a soccer player, I'm sure he smells, but they're immune to that. But hey,
it's just like it's not a great compliment. If the best thing they can say about you as a player that you're a good locker room presence, I mean that means like you should probably just stay in there. Like just don't come out. Like you're best used inside the locker room. So just stay there.
You're not a good field guy. You're a good locker room.
You're just more of a locker room guy.
You're a locker room guy.
Which is great. There's nothing wrong with it. It's great. It's very important to have these locker room guys. Just stay in there.
Yeah. We got the field guys doing the rest. The field guys will
let the field guys do the play, the game stuff, and you just focus on the locker room stuff.
The scoring, the assisting. Well, I was just trying to say that I do love Tom Barlow's heart. If that makes sense.
I'm sorry.
But his level of play can go to Chicago. His level of play can go away. So that I'm okay with.
His heart. All right.
Last Christmas, I gave you my heart.
The very next day, you gave it away. You gave it away. This year, Tom Barlow
to give you something special. Tom Barlow can't score any goals, but it doesn't matter because he's a locker room guy.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the Schitzel Boys song.
We are doing some test runs for the Christmas special.
Yeah, big Christmas special. It's
going to be the 110th episode. It's going to be a blowout.
Yeah, I'm going to email CBS Sports Golasso if they want it. They are not returning my emails.
Special guest Ian Joy's trainer.
Ian Joy's special guest Derek the So we're gonna get. I'm going to get Derek Ray on this podcast. That's my goal. I'm going to get Derek Ray.
If he listens to even one episode, he will not come.
Let's hope he doesn't. I don't think he will. He doesn't respond to any of my tweets at him and everything. So he seems to be pretty radio silence. But if we give an opportunity to share some stuff about code,
Uli Hesse said he was friends with him, right? Yeah, I mean,
he's been in his realm.
I'm sure he's a nice guy. I laugh at his Germanisms.
Hey, he's the biggest cheerleader. But anyway, so around this time, usually the New York Red Bulls would be selling our best player for like nothing. Usually,
your captain would get traded.
Our captain would get traded for like a supplemental draft pick. That's usually what's happening now, but that's not what's happened. We sold Tom Barlow for money. So far, the news of the Red Bulls camp has been very positive, except for one thing, Bjorn. The New York Red Bulls. No. That's something I made up.
That wasn't real. You made that up. Okay.
Hans Wolf, real quick from try. Never thought I would heard myself ever utter these words, but congrats, Red Bulls, on that.
That's a good bit of business. Very good bit of business.
Anyway, it's not good bit of business, Bjorn.
Tell me.
So the New York Red Bulls just promoted all these marketing guys, this big marketing push. They just announced a Christmas ticket special where you can get, I think it's 2 tickets for $100. One is on the opener, and the other is against the NYCFC Derby, whenever that may be. Schedule hasn't been announced yet. However, there's
2 tickets for $100. That's not cheap.
Or maybe it's $50. It's some sort of deal. 2 tickets deal, good deal. It's a family pack. I think it's a $100 family pack. 4 tickets.
Oh, 4 tickets, $100. Okay.
I mean, I should have looked up this. It's something. It's a good deal. It's the Red Bulls. I mean, it's dirt cheap. They have $80 season tickets for any New Jersey student. I mean, their deals are incredible. Anywho, there's a small bit of writing on the bottom of the ad, though. The bottom of the flyer, there's a small bit of writing, and that writing says "void if home opener is against Inter Miami." So they're selling this ticket campaign. They don't know the schedule yet.
Right.
But when MLS announced the schedule, and if Inter Miami, did I say Inter Milan? I mean Inter Miami.
Inter Miami, no, you said it correctly.
Did I say Inter Miami? If Inter Miami,
I guess it's also
opener,
void if the home opener is against if it's against Inter Milan, it's also void.
Yeah, I'll be that. I'd pay whatever that if it's a competitive game against Inter Milan for the MLS opening season. Sign me up.
It's just crazy.
How'd that happen?
Inter, okay, yeah.
So that means that, and that's got a lot of criticism because what kind of promotion is that? It's like it works except against one team.
Well, the chances of that, the chance is small that it's going to be that.
Then my thing is they should have bitten the bullet. They shouldn't have put that small writing there because they're getting criticism, and right now they don't need criticism for marketing stunts like that. So, of all the good news coming from the sporting side, the marketing department's still finding ways to keep it interesting. That's all I'm saying. I mean, could they have called the league to be like, can you give us a preview of what you're thinking what the schedule is? I mean, I guess that's too much to ask. Or if not, just bite the bullet. Get people in that stadium. The big criticism I
guess
online,
how many of these are they selling, I suppose, it's the question.
I mean, if it's against Inter Miami, they'll sell out. But the thing is, someone brought up online, which I liked, and they're like, Messi coming league is a big deal. It's fun that's Messi. But now they're treating him like a separate package, like a premium package on top of what the regular league is. And that really shouldn't be how it's done. You buy tickets to your team. You buy tickets to MLS. You watch games at MLS. All the players should be included. You know what I mean? They're doing this thing where one player is a premium package. Name any other league where one player is treated as a premium package. Does Cone have to pay an extra $500 because Harry Kane came to town over the weekend to play at Bayern München? No, it's part of the deal.
Well, it's less of a they don't do the competitive but I mean I don't know. I mean the flip side of that argument is that there obviously is a huge secondary market, so the teams are just supposed to leave all that money to the profiteers, and that seems stupid.
Yeah, but that's an issue that should have been fixed a long. That's another issue they should have fixed a long time ago. I mean, they've been feeding the gray market for years. I mean, I don't know.
No, but like NYCFC, they do competitive pricing. My season tickets cost the same every year. I mean, or whatever, they increase it or something, but like, it's not, you pay a certain amount, but then they value the different games differently. Like if it's individual tickets, they're worth something. They're worth more if we're playing the Red Bulls versus, I don't know, Chicago Fire.
As part of the season package, you're saying?
If you're trading in, for example, you get to, if I say, I don't want to use these tickets at a certain date.
You mean in the resale market? Yeah.
No. But even if I just give them back, I can give back a certain amount of tickets to the team. I can just be like, you refund me for these. And so they are not all created equal. I mean, that's just I don't know if every team does that, but that's just something that they offer. You can, I think once or twice a season, you can just return your tickets and they give you a certain amount of money back, but it's not equal for each game. They sort of value them in different ways, depending on who you're playing or when it is. Like Wednesdays are cheaper than weekends and whatnot. So it's competitive pricing. I mean, that's like what most people most places do now. It's not like, oh, this is what it costs to see the Knicks or whatever. It's like it changes. Some games are more because and the reason is the teams, it used to be it's just like, oh, it costs this much to see the Yankees where they play on Wednesday against Baltimore or the Red Sox on Saturday. It's always the same, but then you have these resellers that make all the profits. So the team wants to make some of that.
Well, then, with all that being said, what's the point of your marketing arm releasing a marketing promotion that just says all of this you know what I mean? It's not professional. It's weird to be like, hey, it's a buy one, get one, unless X, Y, and Z happens. Okay. If that happens, we're not going to honor our promotion. It's like, what kind of promotion is that? Make a decision.
Well, okay.
It's weird. I just think it comes off a little bush league. That's all I'm going to say. Now, how about this another scenario? NYCFC ticket rep calls.
Okay.
You get your season tickets. It costs whatever it costs. Let's say $1,000. And then they're like, but that does not include Inter Miami games. The Inter Miami games are selling as a separate package for $5,000. So if you want the whole season, you have to buy both packages, the Inter Miami games, or you can have a full season pass without the Inter Miami games.
But that's nothing. That's nothing like what you were describing. That is.
Well, I'm not. I'm just saying. How would you feel about that scenario? I made up a scenario.
I would reject that scenario, but like that's not like the scenario that you're describing with this promotion.
It's saying it's only available for if it's Inter Miami, then we take the tickets back. That's what the promotion says.
Well, but you're going to get your money back in that case, or whatever. They're going to give you another game.
Yeah, against the Orange County Blue Stars. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's like yeah, it's like you go to a restaurant, you get like the buy if it's restaurant week in New York, and you get it's like 20 every lunch is like $20.23 or whatever, but you can't order the lobster. Like that's just, I don't know.
Right.
I think that makes sense.
So MLS, Leo Messi is the lobster, and they're very clear about that.
I mean, that's just like I don't know what I'm defending here exactly. Like, but that's just the reality. I mean, my ticket rep told me that they're selling, that people are buying season tickets for NYCFC just for the one, just because it's if you're imagining like you're paying $1,000 to see Messi, you can get season tickets for that or less, significantly less than that. Now, of course, it's a gamble because Messi gets hurt or whatever, then or he decides to not play that game. I mean, yeah.
Also, there's
I would never. I don't know. I wouldn't pay like $1,500 to see Messi play at Red Bull. I mean, it's like I won't sell my tickets. I'll go see it when he comes, if and when he comes. But yeah, I mean, I don't get this like, oh, I got to pay this amount of money. Like you can, yeah. Anyway, but that's a different story. I don't think it's that weird.
I'm also curious if the excitement will wane off for season 2 a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, also possible. Right? Probably. It's not. It's going to be. There's going to be a little bit of a leveling out. I would imagine it's not going to be like. I think certainly the first couple, when he first appeared, that's definitely a hotter ticket than it's going to be if he plays a full season. I think that's probably true.
Yeah, and the other thing I wanted to mention on the NYCFC buying season tickets for Messi, that makes sense. But here at LAFC, I got my LAFC Twico on today.
Oh.
Because I'm pretending to be an LAFC fan.
LAFC, they're still in it. 4 teams left. They're one of them.
They're one of them, baby. And I've been a fan since birth, baby. LAFC.
Your childhood team, LAFC.
I remember when I was a wee boy, LAFC versus the LA Aztecs, a young Johan Cruyff.
Before you said mama or papa, you were able to say LAFC.
I said Carlos
Vela. Weird. Very, very, very precocious child.
Yeah, they had to send me to a behavioral specialist to see what was going on.
People were trying to find your emotional core even back then.
Always looking for. I'm always finding reasons that I'm not a robot. That's my life. Like, am I a robot? Anyway, here at LAFC,
you should take one of those tests. They have these things like the CAPTCHA.
Am I a robot?
That'll tell you.
Yeah, I always pass the CAPTCHA test, no matter how many times.
So that's it then. Then case closed. You're not a robot.
Okay, so I passed that test hundreds of times at least. So good
so
job.
Why
you're
but you're still not sure. You don't trust the test.
I need an advanced level test.
The CAPTCHA is too easy. Even a robot could pass the CAPTCHA.
Yeah, it's written by AI. How's an AI going to recognize a robot? A bunch of robots talking to each other. Anyway, what I was saying is LAFC, if you resell your tickets too much, your membership gets canceled and you're not allowed to get new tickets. And I love that policy. It's defending against the gray market, because what happens is people just sit on tickets and just resell them all day at a profit, like they're stealing a Nintendo for Christmas or a PlayStation for Christmas. It also pees me off, that whole gray market nonsense where you have a brother who works at Target, you get all the PS5s in, then you sit on them and sell them for twice the price on eBay or Craigslist. It's essentially what that's what a lot of ticket people do. And this whole
in LA anyway.
Yeah,
we don't have that NYCFC. We don't have that problem because we play.
We have a huge stadium. Yeah,
we play in a big stadium. It doesn't sell out, so tickets are available. Like I don't think there's a lot of people making huge amounts of money reselling their tickets.
I doubt any. I know, but which is a good thing. I love that. But here in LA, the LAFC is a small, contained stadium, and seats come at a premium.
Yeah.
Now, and a lot of people sit like right now. The tickets for the finals are being sold, and boy, they start at like $200, $200-$300 for the nosebleeds, and they're just sitting on it making profit. But LAFC, they're doing this thing where if they notice that their season ticket holders aren't actually attending a lot of games, they then get banned from buying tickets from the club.
I think that's good. Yeah, I agree. I think that's good.
Too. I like it. I'm all about it. Like you could.
That's we probably are going to need some policy like that
when the stadium opens.
The stadium opens, yeah.
Well, anywho, let's talk about MLS this past weekend. LAFC, we had 4 games. We had let's do them in order. The very first one was Columbus versus Orlando. And Columbus beat Orlando 2-0. It was a 1-0 game. And the very, very last minute, with an open goal, because Orlando was pushing forward, they were able to get a second at the death to finish it 2-0. But that is the only multiple goal game of the entire weekend. Everything else is just a bunch of tight 1-0s, right? That was sort of the 2 tight teams. Home advantage didn't offer much because 2 of the home teams won, but 2 of the home teams lost. So it was 50-50.
Yeah, the Orlando playing a little tight, huh? Did you watch that game? I
watched some of that game. I watched like half of that game.
It's a weird thing they do. Like when it comes to these playoff games, they get very conservative. I don't know. That seems to be like an Oscar Pereira kind of thing. Maybe they were it was weird because they've been sort of a pretty offensive minded team, but what's his name? Duncan McGuire, is that his name?
Perhaps. My knowledge of
the young American, Duncan McGuire. The American number 9 was very, very quiet, nothing. And then Rodrigo Schlegel, I mean, love to see one of NYCFC's old nemesis get a red card in a playoff game. I mean, that just warmed my heart. That guy getting sent off. And then Orlando just kind of really struggled. I think that was a pretty well deserved victory for Christian Ramirez. Got a goal coming off the bench, and then that late kind of lob over. It wasn't like, I mean, it was a little. I'm not sure what Gaesa was doing exactly. It wasn't like he was coming forward for like a corner kick or something. It was just like, I don't know. He was just sort of drifting.
He was high up, maybe
very high up, extremely high up.
But of the 4 games, that's the only game that had no officiating.
That was not a one. that did not have official. Oh, that's true. Yeah,
and it was a multi-goal game. It was the only game where it was like everything about this game. There's nothing to complain. Orlando
what
City
happened?
lost,
what was the officiating problem in the LAFC game?
That with the handball, right? No, that's Sporting Kansas City.
Oh, that was
maybe LAFC and Houston didn't have much in officiating. There was the handball call. Yeah, there was the offside at Cincy. There was the handball with.
Well, Do you want to get into? Yeah, okay.
Was it LAFC? It was LAFC, wasn't it? Anyway, let's just go to the Cincy game. Okay. So Matt Miazga did not play. I was really rooting for him to lose, but Cincy won. It was a tight 1-0. So at the end of this game, because it went to overtime, right? No, it
did not. This was a stoppage time winner.
At the end of the game, I was getting ready to go because I had to go somewhere. And I went to the bathroom and I saw the goal, and then I saw the replay, and the analyst is like, "Oh, the VAR is going to have to take a look at that." He looks offside. And I went to the bathroom being like, "Well, this is about to get overturned and go into overtime." Because to me, that's pretty obvious. And I left the bathroom, and since he was celebrating, it was a no call. Now, I brought something to show the class. David Riccio, how you doing, bud? In the chat. I brought a couple of these moments to share with the class. Let's see how this works. Is this it? This is it. You see that? So this was the death moment, right? Number 32 here heads the ball in the middle for, I think, 14 or 15 to slam home the winner. The big talk is, and then the VAR looked at it, and VAR said, "Oh, this guy is onside." Number 32.
Well,
that guy's onside. And then the talk is the angle, right? We're a little behind, so if you move up forward, you can see a better angle. But our friends at Soccer Photogrammetry, who've done this before, they use mathematical wizardry, and they try to draw out a pretty even line. Now, it's not exact science. They had to guess where his foot was. There's a little guesswork here.
Right.
But according to their math, he was 2 inches, just under 3 inches offside.
Okay.
However, the argument is like, we don't have the angle. And then the big talk is it doesn't matter. Does it deserve a VAR review? Right?
What?
Anyway, all I know is that this was the winning goal for Cincy. They won. Philly didn't complain.
Well, okay. No, finish what you were saying.
Jim Curtin said his dumb thing that he always says. He always says really stupid stuff after game.
He really does.
He really does.
He said he would rather be one of this. There's 25. He said there's 25 teams in the league that are in disarray and are not playing for anything ever. And he's happy to not be. That is, I guess.
What the hell is he talking about?
What is he talking about?
He's such an edgelord. He's like the Alexi Lodge, trying to edge people off.
Really, he just gets. There's that Kleist, that famous Heinrich von Kleist essay, famous writer of the 19th century, German writer, über die langsame Verfertigung der Gedanken wait, now I'm getting it wrong. Well, anyway, this essay is about how your thoughts form while you're speaking. And so
only on the Schitzel Boys will we take.
And that's what Jim Curtin. You can watch Jim Curtin. He gets a full head of steam, and then things just kind of happen in his head. As he's talking. 25 clubs. There's 30 clubs in the league. 25 of them are in disarray. Well,
he's won no titles, by the way.
And obviously that was an exaggeration, but he says he'd rather have heartbreak every year than be one of those clubs that are in disarray and can never win anything. So anyway, yeah, Jim Curtin.
What's the whatever? It's the same thing twice. You were eliminated. We were you were eliminated. Stop trying to paint a freaking. Stop trying to sell a Toyota like it's a Ferrari.
Right.
But Anyway, so I'm glad that they're eliminated just because Jim Curtin's stupid mouth. I'm glad he doesn't win any more stuff.
I mean, I'm down with Philly getting screwed. Also, not a problem.
So but I don't know, Bjorn. Make the call right now.
I would say, well. I mean, I haven't seen the soccer photogrammetry thing. I was looking for it. I couldn't find it. I mean, that was sort of my gut reaction. Also, when I looked at it, I was like, oh, he's probably off, but not as much as it seems on first glance because of that angle. You know, the angle is acute in the way that you're looking at. You know, when you're just kind of, even if you're just looking at the line of the
field,
the field, like the where they mow the lawn or whatever, you can see it's pretty close. And so, well, anyway, it's so boring, all this stuff, you know, when you're going into the like nitty gritty. You know, now I had this discussion with my son about the lines that they do. You know, in MLS they don't do the lines. In the Premier League they do these lines where they put down a line, which I think that's nonsense. Like, these lines are
like how the NFL does it. They put like a virtual line across the screen. Is what you're saying? Something like that?
No, they in the Prem, the VAR, they put a line where the defender is, where the point where the defenders, you know, always the most forward body part that you can score with. So in this case, I guess it's for Carranza, it's the foot, and for the other guy, Murphy, it's probably the shoulder, or maybe it's also the foot. I don't know. But so they put a line for each, and then whatever is closer to the goal, that's how they decide. But the problem with that is that the frame that you're picking is always important, because, you know, it's like 24 or 25 frames. So and you're always, you know, so anyway, so which frame you're picking makes a much bigger difference. So it's sort of like this illusion of scientificness that doesn't exist. Like, you're very precise after making sort of an arbitrary judgment as to which picture to use. So
that was Christina Uncle's thing. She was here to review both calls, and her thoughts on this, where the angles are tough because literally what you need to be looking at is the one that's 2 frames before this one.
Right.
I mean, this looks like a good frame to me, right? The ball's still on the free kick's foot.
Well, he's also moving in this case, because usually the attacker moves forward, you know, like in this case, he's actually coming back onside eventually. And it's just like, it's the problem. It's the problem with, you know, like, you could say, I made this argument, I've said this before. The only problem in sports, you don't need, it doesn't really matter if it's correct or not. It just matters that somebody decides, and it matters that they do the best they can. The only problem is if you have, because it's really, you know, there's lots of luck involved. You know, some things, if you hit the post, sometimes it goes in, sometimes, you know, it's like random stuff happens. So the only problem is if somebody makes a decision and then you can see later on TV that they were wrong. And that's the problem. That's what VAR is supposed to help with. Now, in this case, to the naked eye, if you're not taking these angles, he looks like really offside, but he really isn't. It's pretty close. And they don't, and so they're saying we don't have enough evidence to overturn it. If the AR had raised his flag and said this is offside, they also wouldn't have overturned that. And I think
the bigger talk is if this is, again, that term I hate, clear and obvious.
Right. And it's the
and then it's not clear and obvious, obviously, because we're
and so they just let it stand. And in England they do these, like, the lines thing, and it looks like science, but it isn't. And I don't think that's better. I think it's I think we all have to make peace that no matter what, there's always going to be an element of you know, error and sometimes people still will make mistakes. Sometimes there's judgment calls, and sometimes you don't have enough information. And so
this leads to another question, though. You're right.
Yeah.
But in the world of football, we have automated offsides, right? We used the World Cup, and I thought it worked really well. We have ball line technology that MLS also isn't doing for some reason. It seems like there's technology available to make this better, and MLS is just not choosing to invest in it to save some money.
Well, nobody else has the automated offside. That was just a pilot thing at the World Cup. Nobody else uses that anyway. That's not just MLS.
Let's hope we're open to using it.
I mean, that's a thing. I guess that's the holy grail, right? Like in tennis now. In tennis, this is what happens. Everything is automated. The lines, like a machine, decides whether the ball is in or out. And then the machine, actually, they use like a recorded human voice to call it, which is a little odd. But
is it Morgan Freeman's voice?
No, it's just it's a variety of voices. I don't know where they get them from, but it sounds like a lines person is calling something out, but there's no lines person. It's just a machine, and that sound is a recording. So I don't know.
It should be Werner Herzog.
It's a little bit creepy. It should be Morgan Freeman, but that's a little weird. And then it's like, the machine makes the call, and then they show you a replay of an animation, basically just illustrating that the call was correct, or like how close it was, or whatever. And but that's just I mean, then you just
there's no reason though in Stefan's fantasy world, because in Europe, like in Germany, England, they have a watch with that says green or red whether a ball goes over a line, right?
Mm-hmm.
MLS, we don't have that because they're saving money. We've already seen a couple instances where that's been clear. But with all this technology, automated offside and ball line clearance and all this stuff, I imagine there can be a unified system similar to the Hawkeye system in tennis, where the referee has a little smart watch, and no matter all cross ball, like all over the line stuff, whether it's out of bounds or goal line, and all player offside scenarios should be computerized and sent factually to his watch so he can make a decision. Right? We live in a world where we can make that happen, can't we?
Or we can just make peace with the fact that shit happens.
But so shit happens. But now let's go to our gut. And my gut, I understand what you're about the whole angles and but my gut is since he was offside. I mean, it's as simple as that.
No, I think that was my sense. That was my sense too. It's like he's probably off, but not by as much as it seems by the with the naked eye. But or maybe he's not. Maybe he's not. I mean, even soccer. I mean, if it's like 3 inches, if he has his if he has his foot turned out, if Carranza has his foot turned out, then maybe he's on. I don't know.
But it's even if you are the AR standing there, shouldn't you have seen it was offside too? That the AR should have gotten the same instinct we all had.
Well, maybe, but that's why I'm saying maybe they've been like outsmarting themselves, where they're like, oh no, this is actually quite close. But then maybe, I don't know how exactly they do it. I'm glad they're not doing the lines. The lines are stupid. And so
they can't afford them. They're trying to.
Yeah. Somebody was saying, I mean, because this was a pretty dreary game overall. There were not a ton of goal chances, and somebody was tweeting that the VAR just did not want to watch 30 more minutes of this. And I think that's probably that may have been.
So that's the East. Ohio versus Ohio. Hell is real in Cincinnati. I think it's a great matchup. Wilfred Nancy in Columbus and Cincy have deserved how far they've gotten this year. And
so what's going on with Matt Miazga? They're still. I heard on the broadcast that they're still reviewing his locker room intrusion.
Yeah, lifetime ban. Lifetime ban is what I would like to offer. I would.
Just because he wanted to tell the Red Bull fans how much he loved them.
Okay, edgelord. All right, edgelord. Okay, Mr. Jim Curtin. You're Jim Curtining me, right? Like David Riccio says, Curtin always looks befuddled. Very true. He's like, So that was the East. But then we got the West, baby. We had LAFC. No, that was later. It was Houston versus Sporting Kansas City, which was actually a pretty fun game. I'm really liking the way Houston's playing.
Houston is a good, like, I've been my apology, my Ben Olsen apology tour continues. Houston's been great, and I did not think they were going to be, and they've been good.
Oh, everyone's got the always Ben Olsen apology. All right, so here's the next thing I want to share with the class. You said it, Christina Uncle said it, I said it on Reddit. Everyone responded to me on Reddit saying like it's what I thought. 100%. It was like a shot-for-shot remake of the 2002 Greg Berhalter versus Germany handball on the line clearance moment. Right? I have it a little zoomed in. It's hard to get a good angle here. I don't want to play it because they'll probably strike us. But essentially, it's 0-0, right? Or was it 1-0? It was either 1-0
no,
or
they
0-0
were up. Houston was up at that point, I think.
No, yeah, it was 1-0 for Houston. You're right.
Yes,
and then right towards the end, right away. This is a direct response to their goal. Like the next moment, they got a counterattack. Got a great moment here where Sporting KC was either, I think it was Alan Pulido, perhaps, I don't know who, kicked it, and this defender right here on the line, goalkeeper's over here, right here on. Can you see my mouse, by the way?
No.
Am I the only one? Let's do this mouse. Anyway, it doesn't matter. On the right side of the goal, you see the defender, and his arm, for the podcast listeners, sorry, we're showing photos, these are all on Twitter. His arm is slightly extended and held strengthened to deflect the ball. And it's not like it's probably a split-second subconscious thing. It's like if a ball was thrown to me, I probably would have done the same thing. It's just like it's like an arm response, right? But he clearly extended his arm in a way to block the path of the ball to make sure it didn't cross the line.
Also, did it bounce off of him first, his body first?
No.
I couldn't tell.
His arm.
Okay.
I'm going to play it. Maybe they'll strike. Or should I play it? I'm going to strike it. Let's see if they strike it. We'll strike it. Here we go. This is the moment because the whole thing, it's a GIF.
Oh, yeah. It comes right off his. Yeah.
So it's just right to his arm. If you see, he moves his arm here to the ball. He moves it inward to his body specifically to block the ball. Outwards, inward to block the ball. And that's old school ball to hand.
This has to be. I mean, this is like this. This makes no sense that this is not a penalty.
Christina Uncle said that this would be a red card dog soap penalty. It would be a red card to the defender for denial of a goal scoring opportunity, and it would have been, which is brave of her because her husband Ted Uncle is the guy who. No. Sorry, Ted Uncle did a different game.
No, Ted Uncle did a different game.
It's a different
wow. That would have that would have been amazing. Yeah, my husband sucks at this.
Yeah, you're right. I wish that was the dynamic here. But it was a no call. They just said like no call, no VAR, and they just kept playing. And I'm like, what the heck? What the heck? And that could have changed.
Yeah, I mean the handball rule nobody understands anymore. It's like it's been messed with to the point where, well, I mean in this case, yeah, who knows if they're.
What Christina Uncle said, who is a professional referee, that yes, the handball has been defined as arm at the side and However, FIFA has expressed that in situations like this, where it's on the line and it blocks a goal scoring opportunity, you lean towards the attacker. She said, like, FIFA officials would look at this and say, red card, dog so. And I don't know, as a fan, I come to the same conclusion, right? I mean, I look at that and be like, that's a red. He blocked its ball. It's handball.
If you block a ball on the goal line with your hand, that's got to be. I mean, I guess, yeah, and I guess the red card. I mean, that's always harsh if it's like double, you get punished twice, you get a penalty, and the guy is, but like, yeah.
However, I put
people
that on
also
Reddit.
there's this natural position nonsense is what gets me with this, like the natural, but like I feel like I've said this before. If your arm gets caught in a wood chipper, like that's an unnatural position. Anything else you can do with it, it's like, you move around, your hands do stuff. It's like that's not a good way. that's not a good thing to include in this rule. The like whether or not it's an unnatural or unnatural. Like it's like I think maybe we need. I mean, obviously, intent is difficult to discern.
But that's always
Does somebody do something on purpose or not? I think it's like I think maybe the answer is like, does this provide an advantage? Do you get an advantage from playing it with your, because sometimes you have these handball calls, or somebody's like touching it at the edge of the box. It's clearly inadvertent. Nothing really happens. It's like, should that be? Is that the same as somebody sort of blocking it with it, like Luis Suarez in that World Cup game, like making the save? Like those are not the same thing. So I think maybe it's time to take into consideration if if how much of an advantage. Like if you're blocking a ball that's going towards the goal with your hand, like that's got to be a foul.
Well. Yeah, you know how with a Windows system, I guess more of a Mac user, maybe it's the Mac, same thing. If stuff gets too screwed up, you can just go do an earlier startup date, and just roll it back to like before or something.
We need to do that with
the handball rule.
Apple Z the handball rule.
The old rule to me was very simple.
Undo.
Hand to ball, no foul. Ball to hand is foul. Right? Now, I get it. It's great because intent. But now with VAR, they can look at it closely and they can make a better judgment on intent and utilize, like what you said, does it provide an advantage or not. I like that. But the way it is now, it's as confusing as it's ever been. And I would say probably more confusing. For instance, there was a handball moment in a different game. Maybe even the same game. I watched 4 games in a row. But it was at the death, but it hit the defender's arm. But the arm was in front of his body. So it hit his arm and then bounced away and then bounced off. To me, that was a good no call because if you chop the arm off, the identical thing would have happened. Not a big deal. And I went on Reddit and I argued, and guess who I argued against? Sporting Kansas City fans.
Ooh.
2 different Sporting Kansas City fans responded to me right away being like, hey, no call. Like they both tried to explain to me why it was fine. And I was like, well, if you guys think it's fine, then I mean, it's your team. So it's your team. So
well, this is also just this is also just a U.S. soccer kind of thing, right? Where it's not people are just always signing up for more suffering. But
they're the losers of it. So if they're fine with the no call,
that's what I'm saying. They're like, yes, no, we deserve it. But anyway. Cincinnati's playing Columbus, LAFC against Houston. LAFC all of a sudden, like probably
LAFC at Seattle's last game.
Have a good chance to make the final. That is the one game I didn't see. The Seattle LAFC. I just could not. I was driven back from Vermont. I could not keep my eyes open for that one. I saw some of it and then I just gave up. I was too tired.
It was a fun game, great atmosphere. Seattle provides a final-like atmosphere. The Seattle stadium's amazing. Just for the atmosphere. I don't love the turf. But overall, it's always a fun game up in Seattle. They had a good game going back and forth. Seattle had the big guns come off, and they just couldn't pull it off. And the big thing was Ted Unkel was the ref of this one.
Yes.
And Ted Unkel was... The criticism was Ted Unkel was a very one-sided pro-LAFC ref throughout the whole game. He didn't give them cards. He didn't foul them the way he was supposed to, but he was pretty harsh on the other team. Like, the criticism was it was a hometown ref, and if he was from LA, and I'm not going to argue against that. So I have no specific calls to show with this one to bring the class. But what I'm saying, of the 4 games this weekend, 3 games had ref talk. 3. So, whatever. Is what it is. Is what it is.
I've always been more of a fan of Christina than of Ted.
Yeah, Christina. I think Christina does good analysis.
The better half, literally the better half in this case.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if this is going too far, but when I look at that couple, it's like, is that a father-daughter situation? What do we got going on over there? Someone married up, and it wasn't Christina.
Yes, you are. If you're wondering, yes, you are. That is going too far.
All right, well, I apologize. I wish her both the best, and sorry.
It's like love is blind sometimes.
Love is blind. I get it. But anywho, LAFC, I'm telling you, LAFC, they're hosting Houston. I'm going to try.
I mean, they've had kind of an unremarkable season, but now they're kind of in the driver's seat. They could, I guess, they if they make the final, if Cincinnati, but I guess if Columbus beats Cincinnati, LAFC could host, right?
No. From what I understand, I learned this also over the weekend. It's going to be in Ohio no matter what, either Cincy or Columbus, because it's based on the seeding of the supporters.
Oh, because Columbus had more points than LAFC. Okay, never mind. So LAFC will not host.
So this game is LAFC's last home game of the season, no matter what. Coming up next week. So I'm going to try to go, but tickets are outrageous. We'll see if maybe day of I can get a little bit of a day of.
And Houston's not going to, I mean, obviously, too bad. Houston, by 1 point behind LAFC, they would have had home court. So,
well, I'm excited.
The regular season is important.
I kind of want to go see Houston, to be honest. I mean, LAFC, to quote the great MLS super legend Bruce Arena, the second half of the season is the season. So in the old Galaxy days, Galaxy won like 3 in a row, or not 3 in a row, but they were in the finals. They were always in it to win it for a while. And half of those seasons, they were like on the bottom of the West by July. And it doesn't matter. They picked it up in the second half. They got a new player or something, and they ran through to the finals. And we're seeing that this year. LAFC's second half of the season, they picked up, right? They were a little, like you said, unconvincing, but it doesn't matter because, like, you look at a team like St. Louis City SC and LAFC right now, who would you rather be? LAFC. They were in it for the long haul. St. Louis City had a great regular season, but limped right out of the playoffs right away. And an experienced MLS team knows how to play through to the playoffs. They know the real goal. So good on LAFC. Good on Houston for picking up under Ben Olsen. Good for Columbus to playing great for Nancy, and good for Cincy for turning their season around. They went from 3 wooden spoons in a row to supportership winners. So it's a freaking miracle they got going on over there. So good on them. Who do you got? I know you don't like predicting, but who do you got? What's going to happen?
Well, I said Cincinnati.
All the way through to the end?
All the way through to the end. Yeah, I think I mean, it'll depend on whether they get Miazga back. But I feel like they defended pretty well, even though they had sort of a makeshift back line. Not only were they missing their center backs, they were missing their defensive midfielder. But yeah, I think they're gonna do it. I think Columbus had a good defensive performance, but they are Gesundheit. They are vulnerable defensively, and I think Cincinnati's going to make the final, and they're going to win the final. Oi, Gesundheit, Schönheit, Intelligenz.
Dusty in here. Yeah, I mean, I can argue. I would love for LAFC to win it again. It'd be good to. I respect the organization. I am, in a way, a low
organization. It's an excellent locker room. It's a really good locker room organization.
I didn't say that. I don't know what the locker room's like. It could be crazy in there. But Denny Bouanga's crushing it. Carlos Vela is last year. And I'll tell you, Carlos Vela has probably been the best Mexican player to ever play in this league. He's got to be, right? I can't think of any others. Supporter Shield MLS Cup winner here for 5 seasons.
Rafa Marquez?
No, not Rafa Marquez. In fact, he's a bad locker room guy. He's a really bad locker
Very bad locker room guy.
We need him for a rugby game, maybe. But anywho, LAFC with Carlos Vela, I love Cincinnati, the Ohio, the Midwest. Houston, I would love for them because, Houston has had the same sad sack seasons that I've had with Rebels. Now, they've won a couple MLS Cups in the past, but I know what they're going through. So it's nice to see a simple American coach. They don't have any big superstar players outside of Ache Ache. Ache also picking up and really becoming a great leader. I'm loving what Hector Herrera's been doing. And they're doing it. They're doing it. So, I don't know. It'll be a lot of fun. Look forward to it.
Yep. Saturday.
Look forward to it. Saturday. Okay. That has been the USA Hour. The only other thing I want to mention is that the Mexico-Honduras game was crazy. you saw that. Mexico did turn around a 2-0 loss to 2-0 win with penalties. And it was nuts, and it was CONCACAF, and it was crazy, and it was a lot of fun. You don't get that outside of CONCACAF, baby. He scored a winner in the 11th minute of extra time, 2 minutes past 9 minutes.
Ooh.
They ignored the chance, every chance they got. And then the Honduran player had to retake his penalty 3 times until he missed it before Mexico could take their penalty on. That's CONCACAF, baby.
Wild.
Wow. All right, Chris. I will talk USA.
See you on the other side.
We're going to talk Poland, and we're going to talk some Bundesliga finance stuff up in the other room. I'll see you then. Cheers.
All right.
Bis nächste Woche.
Bye.